What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Flake, and I figured, hey, it's time for a video. I was away all weekend. I was in Orlando, and then I flew back to Toronto, and boy, was it cold. Orlando's a pretty damn cool place. I got to see Mickey Mouse from a distance in a hotel across the pond. All right, this deck is a little bit of a blast from the past, so stop me if you've heard this one before. But hey, Masquerade Ball. Well, it's not the greatest Nilfgaard list out there right now, but it's still got some punch to it, does it not? So we brought it out for a spin today on stream. I thought, hey, let's do a little bit of the old Masquerade Ball. Maybe we'll catch some people off guard, get some with a little bit of poison, see what happens. So again, I'll walk you through the list, and we'll talk about it, and you can give it a spin. So let's go for the deck list first. Number one, Emissary. Well, you need some spies here in order to basically fuel your Brothans, right? And that's what this is for. That's what the Emissary will do for you. It's just a 4-provision spy, fuels your Brothans. Mage Assassin, well, this is sort of an extra piece that goes right next to essentially the where is it? Blightmaker. Blightmaker is a nice thinning play. It also can get you some extra cow carcasses and poisons. If your opponent is not suspecting that you're going to hit them with additional poison, they may actually kind of disregard and downplay the importance of the cow carcass on the other side, giving poison to adjacent units. So worth your while, I think, is the Blight Maker. So obviously it's great just for the thinning play, but there is some alternative sort of secondary action with Blight Maker to go ahead and spawn the cow carcass that really does synergize with what this list wants to do. Furthermore, double Venmore Lem Hunter. Well, we need aristocrats, and since Masquerade Ball got nerfed to the point where you can't play disloyal aristocrats, this is the way you have to do it now. The Bronzy Boys, and that's what this is. Very versatile. I mean, you're not getting a major tempo swing with it, but it does go ahead and trigger the chapters on Masquerade Ball. In the front row, it'll bleed. In the back row, it'll lock. And there's plenty of things that you want to lock. Plenty of things that you want to lock. Mages, for example, go and lock them all up because they're all jerks. Furthermore, Fangs of the Empire, a 4/4 that gives poison. This will play nicely with, the extra triggers on things like Thirsty Name. Your Usurper will get a bonus because it's an agent as well. Not to mention, you can get the one extra, poison drop, a little status effect, so that your Vincent can go ahead and complete the package here in terms of killing something. Double Tourney Joust. Well, in the 4 spot, we needed something that was going to fill up the 4-provision spot, not necessarily over pollute our Vigo with bronze cards, but at the same time be able to answer some of the nastier threats. Things like mages are nasty. They are gross. So we do have Tourney Joust in here if you need it. Duchess Informant, again, same as the Emissary. It is just to fuel your Brothans, plus it's not bad to have in order to clone some of your opponent's cool things. It also clogs up their rows, if that is relevant, if that factors in. So enjoy it while it's there. Thirsty Name, another Aristocrat. A 4/5. Now, the Aristocrat, sorry, the Thirsty Name here is not fantastic, but it does get the job done where necessary. If you can open up, it's a proactive play that you have in your pocket if necessary. It's also an Aristocrat to trigger your Masquerade Ball, and it does grow to be pretty nasty. So one of those is in there. Hunting Pack, well, it's a thinning play, much like, the Imperial Enforcers and all the other kinds of, the Wild Hunt Riders, the Sewer Raiders. It's a double 4 thinning play. It's necessary to get that extra thinning, to get some reliability of finding the cards that you need, and you will have a myriad of ways to go ahead and activate the summon on this card. You need a status effect on your opponent's side. Well, there's plenty of them. You'll have locks. You'll give poison. Your opponent will probably have Veil. Doomed as a status effect. Resilience is a status effect. Vitality is a status effect. You'll have plenty of ways. You'll never really feel like you have to work to get Hunting Pack out. We talked about Blightmakers. Roderick, again, tutor out those gold cards if necessary. This is typically a round 3 play. You never want to roll the dice on this and really pull a card that you don't want, or pull when I say it's a don't play it in round 1, it's because you don't want to overpay to win a round. Playing this, and then suddenly you get Usurper and Coup de Grace, let's say, and you don't want either, or Usurper and Masquerade Ball in a round that you don't want to play them, well, you're kind of screwed because you have to make the selection. You can't just pass on it. So make sure that you're thinning your deck out nicely and you got the hits necessary with Roderick. Dead Man's Tongue, again, thin out the garbage. Depending on what you're playing against, sometimes you want the spies, sometimes you don't. But a lot of the targets for this are usually just cleaning up the spies and the extra, tourney jousts, just so you're not drawing into garbage later in the game. Dead Man's Tongue is just a great way proactively to generate points, get tall, protect units if necessary, and go from there. Arterius Vigo. It's Assimilate, and that's all we want to talk about. It's going to generate some pretty decent things, be it the spies, the bronze spies, like Emissary or Duchess Informant, but also an extra poison, an extra lock if you need it. It can get you a what else can it get you? Well, it can get you another. My God, why can't I suddenly not remember the name of that card? Blightmaker. There it is. It can get you another Blightmaker if you need another thinning play. It gets you what you need. So, I mean, take a look over here. Not to mention, there's always the home run play of if you have all the hunting packs in the deck and you do spawn a new one and there is status on the other board, you'll generate one and double thin the hunting pack. Really good play. Not reliable, but pretty decent play. Yen's Invocation, the cleanest, faction-specific removal in the game. Put a card on top of your deck. If it's a big boy on their side and you have your Joaquin ready to go, well, scoop it and poop it, I guess is the way to say it. A little Yen's Invocation into Joaquin is the old scoop it and poop it move. Finally, Brothans. Well, not finally, but moving along. Brothans. Probably the best Nilfgaard card in the game outside of Arto. Double Assimilate trigger. Go ahead, spawn one of your disloyal units like your Emissary or your Informant. Put it where it needs. This will probably trigger a couple times. It's just so good. It is absolutely just a boss of a card. And it's fairly expendable, I mean, in certain rounds. So don't worry about getting that out of there. Vincent van Morlehem, he is an aristocrat, and he does get rid of some of those really pesky status effects. Defenders. Ooh, we've had some instant forfeit defenders. We've gone into games where basically they started with the defender and we dropped this and ate it up and they just forfeit because they knew that we were going to just ruin the rest of their day. It is also an aristocrat to go ahead and trigger Masquerade Ball. Great card. You got a problem with Dunka on the board? Well, Vincent's going to just chew that right up. So enjoy this bad boy for show. Joaquin, we talked about this again. This doesn't play the location to really get multiple Joaquins, but this card does do some work. So you kind of want to hang on to it when it's a little bit more reliable of knowing what you want to get, because you don't want to just toss Joaquin out to the wolves and suddenly you're pulling off a big pull off the top. Situations where, you're like, I only need to win. I need like 8 points to get ahead. Joaquin can do it. Well, Joaquin into Brothans and all kinds of stuff is a major overcommitment, and that can be dangerous. So just be wary of when you're playing the Joaquin. Coup de grace, it's pretty much peas and carrots with your Joaquin. That's usually where you want to go with it. But you might want to hit it onto your Roderick. Why not? You can, put it in conjunction with your leader ability to clone one of your opponent's units. I've done that before. You damage their Fakusha and you clone it. That's certainly an option. So keep that in mind. Again, it has Echo, so you'll get it twice. Usurper Officer, kind of one of those like starter Pokemon that evolves a couple times, right? You start as you start as Squirtle, then you go to Wartortle, then you go to Blastoise. And this is basically all the way down to his Blastoise mode, and that's where he becomes an aristocrat. He spawns double spies on the other side and grows with every agent that you're going to play. Finally, the centerpiece, which is Masquerade Ball. Well, the ball game's on, friends. The party has started. This is a card that was essentially the focal point of competitive Nilfgaard for so long before Assimilate kind of took over, and Arto Terra Nova was the driving force of that deck. But here it is, man. It is good. Well, I say it's good. It's viable. It certainly needs some work, perhaps. But this was, for the longest time, just the bread and butter of what Nilfgaard can do. And sometimes you could still just catch people sleeping with this kind of card. This is all under the 15 provision umbrella of Imprisonment. These two locks are very useful because you're going to be going against mages. You're going to be going against, those types of like Coral. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be worth a lot of points. So, it's also 6 points of removal if necessary. So, use it wisely. There are rounds perhaps where you just don't want to use them because you don't intend on winning. So you typically want to use these on rounds where you're really committed to a bleed, or you want to put it in conjunction with your coup de grace to really get a good target. But make sure that you're aware of what's coming down the pipe, because just snapshotting an imprisonment charge on the first mage you see can come back to haunt you. So be ready for it. And then Magic Lamp, because, well, this deck really suffers on proactivity sometimes. And if all you can do is flip the Magic Lamp and play like a Attorney Joust on it, or play Dead Man's Tongue on it, well, so be it. That's all you got to do. Anyway, that is the deck. I mean, the basic strategy here is try to get into round 3 with your Masquerade Ball and 2 Aristocrats, and you're usually sitting pretty. I mean, this is not a new strategy by any means. It's just kind of an update on the list given all the nerfs and changes and provision swaps. Now, this list does not have Menno, and it also doesn't run Furcart. It doesn't need to run Furcart because it doesn't run Artaud. And it doesn't need to run Artaud because it runs Masquerade Ball, and it's more of a control-oriented list to a degree, tempo and control, and some control elements with poison. But the major thing here is there is a thought process where perhaps I take out Arturius Vigo for Menno for some consistency. But in that case, you're losing tempo, and that could be problematic. That is for you to figure out. This is the list. Again, this is not tier 1, but it is certainly a change of pace to what's out there right now, and it did win a bunch of games today on Pro Rank. I think it was like I only lost on my 6th match, I believe. I went undefeated for about 5 matches before somebody beat me. So it'll catch some people sleeping, and enjoy it. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, please be kind to one another. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/WatchFlake, on Twitter @WatchFlake. Follow the channel, friends. Here on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It does so much for me. And don't forget, you're not losing if you're learning. So keep shuffling those cards. You might win.